So the podcast, it can't interfere with the business operations. I think this is maybe where people get thrown off mostly, because you think you got to stop all the things in the business to start the podcast, but I don't want you to think that you have to stop everything. If your focus is building the business, you should keep building the business and start building this podcast as an operation of the business. Does Instagram stop your business? No. But you create some posts because it's an asset for the business.
7:45 a.m. Catch me on the morning meetup, hosted by David Shands.
Good morning. That song is lit. That song is lit. Golly, J-Star. I love it. Good morning, ladies and gents. Ladies and gents, how was our weekend? How was the weekend? Any weekend testimonials? Throw your hand up real quick. I just want to holler at you for a hot little minute. Any weekend testimonials? Let's do this. We get some weekend testimonials, man.
Great morning. Great morning.
Morning.
So we actually finished last week off with a wonderful meeting with Auntie Shaky, getting life insurance together and everything. So we are working towards, and not just any life insurance, we doing it right. And she broke it down for us. She is so informative. So shout out to you, Auntie Shaky, because we couldn't do it without you.
Good. I love it. Okay, y'all connecting and working together and all that. I like that. Good stuff. Who else?
All right, Liberty. I'm just going to people who haven't talked yet this morning.
Oh, good.
Good morning, all. So, so the tutorial I did on Canva and AI hit over 76,000, and so many awesome comments of people who it's now going to help their workflow. So big win. And today starts the Make More Content Challenge. So I'm feeling good.
Big win. Good stuff. Congratulations.
Destin just put his hand. Oh, no, there he is. Destin.
Blessings. What's going on? I hope it ain't too loud. My biggest win for the weekend was really going to be grateful and thankful for the wisdom of our elders, like grandparents and stuff, because a lot of times we kind of neglect to go have those conversations of what they've learned through their lifetime, and we don't apply it in our lifetime, so we don't make the same mistakes they did. So I was very thankful that I had the opportunity to go spend some more time with my grandfather, because he just didn't sound like his right self. So I made sure I was very intentional in going to see him and just give him some words of wisdom and absorbing some of his words of wisdom as well. So very thankful for that.
Good. I love it. Give me another.
Okay, self-care is wealth care.
Hey, everybody. I was able to complete a project that I've been working on called Done in 24 that allows people to secure their domain names and stuff like that. And so that's a game changer, because being online is critical, and the domain names is the first step of that. So I'll drop a link in the chat. Thank you.
Oh, so y'all working. That's what y'all telling me. Give me another one.
Okay, we got Mandela.
Top of the morning. Yeah, so the 12-week year, our accountability groups, having a WHAM this weekend really was like a time of reflection. I got a lot of stuff done through these last weeks, so I just been checking it off the list, knocking out excuses, taking control of the life. Organization been on point, so it's been up.
Let's go. It's up. One more.
Right. Nayetta Holyfield, sorry.
Hey, so this weekend I had an event of a family virtual dream board, and that was pretty good. I was able to upload and schedule YouTube videos, and then also start working on scripts for a podcast. And I was able to connect with the lady that found me from the Q&A podcast that we did on YouTube. So that was pretty cool as well.
I love it. Good stuff. Congratulations to everybody that was working. I know you guys got your hands up and y'all got some amazing stuff to share, but the real win isn't sharing. The real win is that you actually did it. Okay. How's our content coming? Throw it in the chat. How's our content coming so far this month? Hopefully you all are better content creators. Content drives all sales. Content drives all sales. In 2023, content is really the only way you can build a business. Through content. I know what you're thinking. No, Dave, that's not right. I don't have to create content. Well, somebody does. Somebody. How do you get your word out? How do you get your message out to the world? And I'm not mad at you if you've been building your business for the last 20 years. You already have a solid foundation. Well, congratulations, because you are building in a time where maybe content wasn't as important. But some of us are relying on word of mouth, which you should, but word of mouth has changed. It's not really word of mouth anymore. It's more of like word of post or word of share or word of fingers, kind of, because you got to share. You get what I'm saying? Like you share with the fingers. You get what I'm saying? And that's like the new word of mouth, because if you like something, you share it on your page or you share it with somebody. They'll get what I'm saying. We have to. I don't care how uncomfortable you are. It's almost like the people in like the 80s, like late 80s, and maybe 90s, maybe not 90s, 80s, early 90s for sure. There were some people that said, well, I don't really need the whole little internet thing. I ain't with it. All this technological stuff, I don't need them computers. That's you. That's you. If you're saying, I don't want to create no content, I don't want to do nothing on social media. It is the way of the world. Politicians are building their business on social media. Side note, and you guys are gonna judge me for this. I'm on the plane, and guess who I'm sitting next to? Guess. It's a politician. No, it's a politician. Who do you think? I don't think Trump's on Delta. You know what I mean? That man is not flying Delta. No, not Warnock. No, not Obama. Okay. Stacey, no. Okay, here's why. Who is Cory Booker? I don't know who that is. Okay, let me all right, so here's the thing. The reason I'm saying I need y'all to like guess, because when I see her name, I remember. And when I say it, there's gonna be a lot of y'all that are disappointed in me, but I'm learning. It's a lady, she's out of California, and she's a politician, and she is Maxine Waters. Yes, I said next door. But I didn't know. I didn't even know who it was. I just knew. I was like, yo, you look famous. Are you somebody? And she said, no, I'm no celebrity. And I said, I don't know that. The way them flight attendants talking to you, you somebody. And yeah, she's Maxine Waters. And I got a chance to really have a conversation, maybe like 20, 25 minutes of her describing how important my political literacy is, because I don't have much. And I was transparent with her, but we had a really, really good conversation. And I told her, by the time I see you next time, Auntie, I'm gonna know something about politics, okay? Because she just couldn't believe it. She said I'm a congresswoman. And I said, I'm sorry, Maxine. See, okay, with all the judgment. Donella, just don't judge me. Come on, I'm good at some things. And I'm trying to convince her, like, I'm doing my part in the world too, right? So maybe politics isn't my major interest, because anybody that's in something will deem it as the most important thing in the world, right? So I'm still telling her, like, I teach our community, entrepreneurship, kids, things of that nature. She's like, all right, cool. But you still need to know politics because you're bugging. She's like, I'm a congresswoman. I was like, okay, Auntie, what is a congresswoman? You know what I mean? Specifically.
Did you ask her to be on the podcast?
No, I didn't actually, because I wouldn't know.
She's known like throughout, like she's so famous.
I know. The judgment this morning. Come on, guys. I'm feeling I can tell y'all this in confidence. Anyway, but she was a really, really cool person, and we really connected. We had a moment. So yes. Anyway, I don't know why I was saying that. I don't know where I was going. Anyway, all right. So today, let's get into it, man. We are going to get into the podcast triangle. Okay, there's a triangle here. The podcast triangle strategy. Now, just like Auntie Maxine, I believe that the industry or thing I'm involved in, everybody needs. That's why I make statements like, if you're not on social media, what's up with you? Me asking Maxine Waters, okay, what is a congresswoman do exactly? And she rolled her eyes. You hear me? She said, "Oh my gosh, you can't be serious." I was like, I'm serious. I don't know. But she's like, yo, everyone needs to know this stuff. Well, just like that, because I'm super passionate about people growing their business as an entrepreneur. If you are an entrepreneur, you need a podcast. I have that same stance. You need one. But I'm going to give, for those that agree with me, I will teach you how to build it. But for all entrepreneurs, I'm going to teach you how to build it and why you need it, because they're like all entrepreneurs on this call. But we're going to get into the podcast triangle, okay? And I took the liberty of actually drawing this before it came up so that I wouldn't have to draw it when I came on here. So we have a podcast, we have a business, and we have an audience, okay? Podcast, a business, and an audience. There's 3 elements that we need to focus on. Our podcast, which is our media outlet. And I'll talk about this in a second. We have the business that we're actually building as entrepreneurs. We need to clearly define the business. And then we have the audience of people who both support the podcast and the business. Now, which one of these in this triangle should we focus on first? Oh, yeah. Shouts out to that. Hey, peeps, if you are attending Dave's podcast luncheon, January 29th, DM, I want to meet you. Okay, I see you. Make sure y'all link her up. The audience, business first, audience. Nobody's going to pick podcast, huh? Well, simultaneously, that's a podcast answer. Business, audience, podcast. Thanks, plumbing by Kathleen. Okay. The first thing we need to focus on is, drum roll, please. Do the little drum roll. Thank you. I see y'all. Okay, I see y'all. We need to focus on the business. The business. Okay. This is the first thing we need to focus on. The business. Now, I will tell you that the workflow is the podcast builds the business. The podcast builds the business. But that's not the flow of the business, of this triangle, okay? So our podcast will build the audience, our audience will build the business, and our business will build the podcast. Now, just because the podcast builds the audience doesn't mean that we make our focus the audience. We need to consider our business and our business needs. Okay? The most important part is most important part of this particular strategy is understanding the flow. You have to understand where our audience sits, what our podcast purpose is, and what our business does. Okay? The flow's whole purpose is to build a business, not popularity, not followers, not influence. The purpose of this particular strategy, and there's a lot of strategies you can use in a podcast, right? But in this particular strategy, the whole purpose is to build the business. So some of us start podcasts because we want to become popular or gain followers or have our audience listen to us. The first focus needs to be the business. The business needs to have specific goals set. Okay? The whole concept of the pod is to build an asset that feeds the business. I'll say it one more time. And I know it's all over the place right now, but I will make it all make sense in a second. The business needs to have specific goals. And the whole concept of the podcast is to build an asset that feeds the business. So if you have a business, we're only creating the podcast as an asset to help us make money and to help us build a business. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, just say, I got you. I got you. Oh, I get it. I get it. Okay. Okay. All right, cool. Now, here's what's cool. On the how can I say it? Foundationally, we are focused on the business. However, on the surface, we're only focused on the audience. All right. And it's going to sound insensitive or it's going to sound really scammy, but will you allow me to teach you business? If you're okay with me teaching you how to get to the money, just say okay. Just say okay. It's going to sound bad, but I can make it make sense to you because there's a game being played and I want you to play the same game. Okay? Okay. So on the surface, we are focused on people first, right? But we don't, not all of us, we don't want to be poor people. And because we're focused primarily on people, it's hard to build a business. However, it may be a very fulfilling life. We just don't have no money. But we're focused on people. And we want to serve people. And that's cool. On the surface, our narrative is we started this podcast or this Instagram page or this YouTube channel to educate people, to serve our audience, to give people something that they don't have that they need. That is the narrative. However, I don't want you to lose sight that your focus is to build a business. If you fall too in love with the people that you're serving, the people, one, will take advantage of you. Trust me when I say. Two, you're only focused on the people in front of you instead of building a business that has resources that can help masses. When I was focused on people and not the business, I helped a few people because I could only help what my resources will allow. Meet up with 10 people, 15 people, but I got to charge all of y'all $10. Okay? I have to because I'm not about to pay for this. Or I can manage a small audience because I can't really go out and do like big business stuff because I didn't want to leave my people, not knowing that if I not focused on people for a minute and I only focused on the business, I could come back and help my people. Does that make sense? Or do I seem scammy right now? Do I seem scammy? Am I freezing? Am I?
No.
Okay. That's just
Wait till other people answer before you say.
okay. All right, cool. All right. I don't want you to lose sight of the business. And this is just what I found. When I focus on business, I can help more people. Think of a number in your head. How much do you think it would cost for me, a pretty successful entrepreneur, to coach you every single day, to give you all of the game? I'm talking about every day for an entire year. Monday through Friday, I'm on a virtual call teaching you how I've done the things that I've done, and me updating you every single day in real time on all the business moves that I'm making, all the negotiations that I'm in, everything that I'm doing before I actually do it. How much you think? And let's say Monday through Friday, and then on Thursdays we do a Q&A where not only do you get a chance to ask your questions and get them answered, but you get to hear the answer from a whole community, hundreds of other people on a call, and you get their answers that are going to help you too. What do you think? And once or twice a year, get together, free conference that we all get to come to, and you get to meet all these people that you see virtually. How much do you think that would cost every single year? 10,000? Not even close. It would probably be closer to 100,000 because it's just, my time is valuable, and to give you the sauce that's going to help you make millions, I'd have to charge you at least 100,000. But what I've done is created a community where you get the advantage of learning how to become an entrepreneur. You get to network with hundreds of entrepreneurs every single day. You got a community that keeps you inspired and excited. You will read a book club with us every single day. We'll also have an event where we come together once or twice a year for free. We do all of that for $399 for the year. Go ask somebody. I've got receipts of things that I built over the last decade, okay? I am willing to coach you. $399 for the year. Listen, go to themorningmeetup.com or click the link in this video. Let's get back to the episode, but keep in mind, I want to coach you. Let's get started. Trust me. So I'm focused on, let's say like morning meetup. On the surface, in the very beginning, I'm like, I just need a community of people who can grow together, right? And when I did that, there was a few people that joined me, and I helped them, and I was doing one-on-one calls and things of that nature. Why? Because I want to help people. But you got to keep your membership up, or like there are going to be no benefits, no advantages, things of that nature. You can't get on the calls. Okay. Last year, or the year before, we started implementing a morning meetup because I realized that one thing that we were missing on the call was getting together in a meetup. But the only way I could do that and not even charge none of y'all, and I spend tens of thousands of dollars to facilitate this event, is because I focused on building the business. I come up with a good model. I came up with a good price. We gave a lot of value. We put a lot of stuff into the business workings. And now I can give you something that I didn't promise that came with your membership, which is a live event. That, by the way, you don't have to pay for. The first one, we went there, then we went bowling. I rented out the bowling alley, bought all the food because I focused on business, and now I can help people. I can help you. I can serve you. Got it? We focus on building the business, and now I can come to your city, and when I come to your city, we go to breakfast and we hang out, whatever cities I go to. Got it? But I don't want you to think people first. I want you to think business, and what business can serve people in a very integral way. Okay? So I want you, I need you to focus on business. I'm just trying to break like some mindset stuff in you right now, but you need to be focused on how am I going to get this money? And what I found is the bigger your business, the more profitable, the more money you have, the more you can help people. Got it? All right. You got to clear the air sometime, okay? Because I ask people all the time, hey, what is your goal for your business? And they say, oh, I just want to help people. I just want to serve people. If that's the case, you need to just take some of your paycheck and go under the bridge and serve sandwiches every week. If you want to help people, go volunteer at a group home or go talk at some prisons or just go help people. Just help people. You don't need money to help people. You need money to help a lot of people. And it feels better, and you don't have to work as hard if your answer is, I want to help people. But it's selfish because you don't have to really take it to the max to go get some paper, to go pour back into it. So that's why I'm so comfortable in the business that I built, because yes, though I focus on business, no one can say that I don't care about people, because I help people all the time. Okay, all right, cool. So here we go. We're gonna focus on the business, helping people understand the business more. The purpose of the podcast and focusing on the business is to help people understand the business more. So I know you want to talk about relationships and you want to talk about what a man should do and what a woman should do, which, by the way, I think is probably the easiest podcast to build, because people have itching ears and they want to hear that stuff. They want to hear that that girl is so crazy about the girl. I'm not going to say it in the context, but P. Diddy's little situation. You know what I mean? Like, why are you saying that? Like, but it's clickbait. People want to hear it. That's what we want to hear, right? We want to hear that a man should take out you and your friends. A man should pay the bill. A man should take you out. A woman needs to serve. A woman needs to be catering. A woman and a man, and need the man, and then they need the woman, and then the woman needs the woman, then the man needs the woman a little bit, but not too much. But understand that a man is a man. Like, people want to hear that stuff. That's cool. However, I don't want you to fall into the trap of popularity and popular conversation. I want you to focus on your business. So, if you are a coach, you need to focus on an aspect of using this podcast to build the business, okay? So it does a couple things when you do a podcast with this triangle strategy. One, it helps people understand the business more. Working backwards, business first. What podcast can I start that will build this business? Okay, helping people understand the business more, one. Two, helping us with a deeper knowledge base of the business ourselves. I've had no greater education in entrepreneurship than starting a podcast. Why? Because I'm talking to hundreds of different entrepreneurs and different business models and different thought processes and different strategies. It helps me understand entrepreneurship better myself for my business. Whole reason for the podcast is starting a business. In fact, some of you know the story on why I started a podcast. It wasn't to start a podcast so I could be a podcaster. I had a business, a conference that was coming up. So I'm interviewing people that were going to be speaking at the conference so that I can sell tickets to the conference. It wasn't about getting people's story out there. It wasn't about educating the audience. It was about me interviewing a person. And if you watch that interview and fell in love with the person, you might come to the conference to come see this person live. That's why you'll see a bunch of those podcast interviews in the beginning, where at the end, I'm like, hey, make sure you get your tickets, realsocialproof.com, regardless of Social Proof Conference, come on out and check it out. I'm not thinking podcast. I'm not thinking that this interview is going to last forever. I'm thinking I'm going to do this interview to grow the what? What? Business. Yeah, there you go. Yep. There we go. See how that works? We need to focus on the business. Internally. Internal strategy. We are focused on the business. But when we talk about it, it's all people. You gotta raise your fist like this. It's all people. Okay. I just want to help y'all. It's a funnel. It's a funnel. Now, I'm not saying you don't want to help people, but we are focused on the business. Only reason we're doing this podcast is for the business. The only reason we have an Instagram account is for business. People are not short of information. People need information. They're going to go get the information. There's information everywhere, but we need to focus on building the business. Okay, good. Okay. Okay. Number 3, helping us better explain the business. Now, the cool thing about a pod, and again, there are some content creators on this call where you don't have a business yet. And you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to start the podcast and the podcast is going to be my business. I'm cool with that. But we still have to identify the end goal for yourself, because you want to talk about some stuff. You want to get your message out there. It's actually a very selfish thing. It's all about us, really. It's about us. We want to tell our message. We think we're good at it. And we need an outlet to get the stuff off our heart. That's cool. So there are going to be some people where your business is the podcast, but still we have to consider the business. What is the goal of the business? How are we going to drive revenue for the business, even if it's a podcast? And then you start building back how we're going to help people through this podcast so that these people build the business. Anyway, so the more we talk about it, I've had no better education in explaining entrepreneurship than starting a podcast, because I get to talk about it all the time. The more you discuss something, the better you are at discussing it. I can engage in any entrepreneurial podcast or entrepreneurial conversation. Now, Ms. Maxine, she started talking that talk about politics, and I am lost, okay? I'm not the best communicator unless we're talking about entrepreneurship. Or I'm honestly not the best communicator when it comes to high-level business. But for my business, entrepreneurship, making that first $1 million or first few $100,000, I got you. No problem. Easy. Why? I talk about it 3-4 times a week on the podcast, 3 to 5 times a week on this here morning meetup, and 1 million times a week in regular conversation. The fact that we have a podcast, you talk about, let's say you're into logistics, I don't know. But one, you'll deepen your knowledge of logistics by starting a podcast, because you either got to come up with some content or you got to interview other people. But also, the more you talk about it, the more stuff that you learn, the more you'll be able to talk about it and better explaining what it is that you do. And now you look, sound, and walk like an expert. And number 4, it helps us connect with other business peers. If you are a rapper, let's say your business is battle rap. Let's just say, I don't know, y'all in the battle rap? Y'all in the battle rap? I actually used to be a battle rapper, quiet as cat, and I got some video that you'll never ever see in your life, but I was really good. I mean, or I thought so, and a couple other people thought I was good. You know what I mean? But if my goal was building my brand as a battle rapper, well, I'd start a battle rap podcast or a rap podcast. 1, I get to talk to other people about how they're building their rap career. 2, I get to understand battle rap a little more, or rapping a little more. And I also get to connect with my peers. And one day I'll talk to Smack. So Smack, he owns like URL, which is the battle rap. That's like the pinnacle. If you're a battle rapper, you want to get there. But like, you can talk to some of the people that have been on the platform already. You're discussing how they got on the platform. And eventually you might be able to get on the platform because you build a relationship with the right person. What y'all know? Y'all know nothing about no battle rap, okay? Y'all don't know nothing about no battle rap. Okay, for my battle rappers who understand, who's your favorite battle rapper? Just drop it. Mine's is Mook, okay? Okay. Here's one important, it's very, very important thing, okay? This is very, very important. Clips is a beast, yeah, definitely love Lux. The podcast must not interfere with the business operations, but must be conveniently placed into the business operations. So I'm giving you numbers, Josie. It's Josie, I'm sure. Josie. Is there a little thing on the top of the O? I don't even know what that means. When the little thing is on here. So 1, for the focus of the business, like starting a podcast, 1 is helping people understand the business more, our audience, right? 2, helping us deepen our knowledge or our knowledge base of the business. 3, helping us better explain our business. And number 4, helping us connect with other peers in the space, okay? It's a networking tool. All right, cool. So so the podcast, it can't interfere with the business operations. I think this is maybe where people get thrown off mostly, because you think you got to stop all the things in the business to start the podcast, but I don't want you to think that you have to stop everything. If your focus is building the business, you should keep building the business and start building this podcast as an operation of the business. Does Instagram stop your business? No, but you create some posts because it's an asset for the business. I don't want you to think so long and hard, get a coach, get a mentor. Okay, promotion break. We're sold out of VIP tickets for this Sunday for the podcast brunch, but we still got tickets left. So you can go to podcastbrunch.com, podcastbrunch.com. Who's gonna come? Who's coming to brunch with me this Sunday? It's $97, but you guys get, the MMU discount. Just put in MMU and you'll get 20% off. Don't share that with nobody, please. Podcastbrunch.com. Okay, I'll be there live teaching. I'm going to teach and then we'll do Q&A, and it's going to be amazing. You're going to really, really enjoy it. I paid full price. Well, shouts out to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I put the discount code in the app. So yes, it's okay. It's okay. Didn't get the 20% off. It's all good. Oh, y'all just was out here. That's awesome, man. The little extras. Y'all let me get the 20%. That's what's up. There's no indication that I don't care about people and I only care about the business, but I'm not giving y'all that 20% back. If you really, really want it, it's cool. I'll do it. But he's always thinking about money. All right. Anyway. Yeah, I got y'all. Okay. All right, cool. So, but don't spend so much time that it has to be like the perfect podcast. It's simply an asset for building the business. Okay. The way it doesn't get in the way of the business is you carve out some time to produce the actual podcast. Okay. So pick a day per week just to carve out some time just to do the podcast. Okay. Because the podcast builds the business. Now, you want to make sure you replace yourself as soon as possible. Now, you may not be able to replace yourself because you may be the host, if that's the case. But in terms of like editing the podcast, you want to get down to being able to walk in and shoot. Whoever you have to put around that to make that happen, do that. And because we're focused on the business, this is a business expense. You want to take a portion of your business profits to put it back into this podcast. Why? Because this isn't a branding play for you. This isn't so you can get the stuff off your mind or off your chest or off your heart. You're using this as an asset to build the business. So we take a portion of the money that we make and we allocate it towards the podcast. Y'all get me? If our business is doing a certain amount of money and we don't have a camera, we don't have a microphone, and all that kind of stuff, we put a little bit of that business money to the side and put it in a little jar that says podcast. And we take 10% of what we made this week, we put it in this jar called podcast. I promise you, you won't miss the money. You're not going to miss it. You're not going to say, oh my gosh, my business is struggling because I took 10% out. And it's like 10% of profit. Just start building it slowly. Eventually you have the camera, microphone, you'll pick a day, you'll start shooting, and you'll be producing content because this content is going to drive this particular business, okay? You want to hire help with the business profits. We use the podcast as a funnel. It's like a free funnel just to engage our current and potential customers, okay? Now, link please for the podcastbrunch.com. It is podcastbrunch.com. Come on, Derek, stick with me, baby. Come on, podcastbrunch.com. He said, what's the link, please, for podcastbrunch.com? It's actually www.podcastbrunch.com. Okay? You got me, Derek? You good? Or you can click that link that Jerry just put in. That's cool. All right. Okay. Now let's go into the audience. Like I said, foundationally, if that's a word, we focus on building the business, but on the surface, we focus on the audience. So our messaging is to help or serve our audience, but don't lose focus of the mission. Okay, do not lose focus of the mission. When we about it, we say, yo, we started this podcast because there was nobody teaching what I know about this business. Or I started this podcast because there's so much information that you all need. And I search and search and search, and I could not find information that's gonna be delivered in the way that I'm going to deliver it. Or this podcast is to serve the people. Serve the people. This podcast is to serve the people, but do not lose focus of the mission, which is the business. Now, we've got to still treat this podcast like a business, because the podcast builds the business. I mean, the podcast builds the audience, and the audience builds the business, which means we have to focus on, is the audience receiving this information? Do we have people on the podcast that our audience is enjoying? You have to look at the analytics. Do not just shoot a podcast hoping for the best where you're only looking at one number. Download amount, views. All right, let me, oh gosh, we're running out of time. Let me see if I can share this with you all real quick. Let's see. Bow. Okay. There are more numbers to consider than the viewer count. You guys can see my screen, right? And all of these analytics tell us something. Your top content for this period. Look at the top content for the period. What is it that people like? People really liked Walla, which means I'm probably going to have him back on. Why? Because the people liked him. The silent $17 million apparel business. This is by far my most popular interview in the last 6 months, really like the last year or so. They really, really enjoyed that. People are really enjoying when me and Donnie get together with a guest. We can see, where's it at? Here. This shows us when our YouTube viewers are viewing our YouTube videos, which means we should not be producing anything at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning on YouTube. Okay. We can see where our audience is listening from. Look at this right here. The people that are watching our podcast are not subscribed. 54% of the people that watch our, not podcast, but our YouTube channel, 54% of the people that watch the YouTube channel are not subscribed to the podcast or not subscribed to the channel, which means people are fighting us, which means for some reason not clicking the button. This tells me I need to tell people, hey, you need to click this button. Check this out. 86% of our viewers are men, which tells me we need to have more women, or we had to have women-driven sections. So I have Yanni, who edits the podcast, who edits our clips. I have her putting together like mashups where it says wisdom from Black women. So we take all of the women on the podcast and put it in one long hour to 2 hour long video, and there's a mashup. And we got to keep driving. And it might be Women in Business Wednesday or something like that. This tells me something. We've got to look at the analytics. Most of the audience is between 25 and 34. Most of the audience isn't my age, so I shouldn't tell them my age much. And I probably should get more intrigued into the creator economy. Why? Because creators are younger these days. This is their whole focus. They don't want to be doctors or lawyers or cops or judges or contractors or engineers. They want to be content creators, which means we need to put more information about content creation on here. Look at this real quick. Where's it at? Look at the content. So how viewers are finding me? The shorts are going crazy. We just implemented this. We're putting 2 shorts a day on YouTube, and it's actually showing and paying off. Look at the performance of the shorts. We can see. Look at my live streams. The live streams in the first 28 days are getting more views than videos in the first 28 days on average, I would suppose, which means I need to do what? more live streams. It shows us so many analytics, not just the views. Y'all get me? Okay. Oh my gosh. Y'all coming to Sunday, right? Because I want to like answer your specific questions. Okay. We got to find out, is the answer feeling, is audience feeling it? We got to check the metrics. We got to listen to what they want. Okay. Promotion is super key. So we don't want to promote business all the time. We could promote the podcast because the podcast actually promotes the business for us. Now, the podcast has to have elements that direct people to build the business. You need to, you need to give people direct invitations to the business in the podcast. So a few times I'll just refer to, oh, so we was on the morning meetup and we was talking about this. Oh yeah, so in the morning meetup, we just got together on this. Oh, well, the theme for the morning meetup is this, and this is why, and I'm talking about it. It's not saying business. I'm dropping seeds of the morning meetup all throughout the podcast. And then in the middle of every episode, it says, hey, come join the morning meetup. Now let's get back to the episode. There's an ad in every single episode. Why? Because the objective is not to podcast. The objective is to grow the business. I'll show us one more time, then I'm out of here. It's 8:59. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So our podcast builds the business. The podcast builds the audience builds the business builds the podcast, because we can put more resources from the business into the podcast, okay? But the purpose of the podcast is to build the business. The business needs the audience, and the audience builds the business. Okay, this Sunday, man, get y'all tickets. I want to see y'all. Bryn, I'm done. I'm not done.
If you like the video that you just watched, click this one. You're going to like this one, maybe even more. Click it right now.